Hey there, my name is Giancarlo Vasquez, and I am going to be speaking to you about organizational control. There are two types of organizational control. Well, two main types. They are hierarchical and the decentralized controls. Hierarchical, as the bullet point states, they are more focused on rules and guidelines. It's a more structuralized type of control. So you have your leaders at the top, and obviously you go down the hierarchy, and they want you to, and the organization wants you to stick within the structure and just follow these rules and guidelines to a T. The decentralized type of control, they, on the other hand, aren't so much worried about the rules and guidelines. They fall back on them. They still have them, but they are more focused on values and assumptions to control the employees. This we got from Daft in our reading. I'm sure you've seen it. Next, we'll be talking about one of the charts that you see it. I'll just go ahead and show it. This is one of the charts in our textbook. I just kind of simplified it down to what I found really important from it. So with the hierarchical, like I said, it's top down, so they don't think that the employees have enough self-discipline, so they don't really trust them to get the job done, which is why they use detailed rules and procedures. They just really want to make sure that everybody is doing their job. In order to get them to try to motivate them, they use extrinsic rewards. Basically like bonuses or promotions, things that most people do want out of a job, but it's all basically monetary type of rewards. The consequences with this is that the employees, like I said, they just follow the instructions to a T. They don't go above and beyond or anything like that. And because they're not attempting to go above and beyond, they become indifferent towards work. It's just a job. It's not something that they really care about. They're just making money. The absenteeism and the turnover then is high in those types of organizations and jobs because of the indifference. When you don't feel that what you're doing is fulfilling in any way, then you don't really want to stick around. You're going to want to find something that you feel passionate about, and that's kind of where the decentralized tries to focus on. The assumption there being that they work best when the employees are fully committed to the organization. So there's a trust factor there with between the organization and the employees, because they are trusting the employees. They use rules very limited. They don't want to force them to work. They want them to work on their own. This is the flexible authority there. Obviously you have managers and people in supervisor roles, but they also give and delegate some authority down the chain so that the employees know that they have control over what the organization is doing to a point. They motivate their employees not only with the extrinsic rewards, but also the intrinsic rewards. Like I said, the extrinsic rewards are those type of promotions or bonuses, monetary type rewards. Not always monetary, but those are the ones most people think of to get people motivated, and most people will be motivated by trying to get a higher pay grade. But the fact with decentralized is that they also have the intrinsic rewards where the employees feel that fulfillment. They feel a sense of purpose with those with the tasks that they accomplish for the organization. the consequences from these actions is that the employees are actively engaged and committed to the work that they're doing. They have that fulfillment from accomplishing it, and because they have that fulfillment, their turnover is low. The employees are more passionate about actually working there, and they like staying there, and they're not just there because they have to be there because the rules are telling them to do it. They're doing it because they like to. The text also talked about the feedback control model. There's 4 steps to that. They're listed here. So first in the model, the organization and managers, they want to establish a standard of performance. That way, everybody knows what the organization is looking for. Then they measure the actual performance of the employees or of the organization. The model overall can encompass either the organization as a whole or just employees down to the lower level. But you measure how they're performing, and then you take that measurement and you compare it back to the standards that you have already set. That way you can see whether the employees or the organization are meeting the standards that are set. And if they're not meeting those standards, then you can take the corrective action. There's different ways to do that. You can either have a type of corrective action where the managers are telling the employees that they're doing it wrong and that they have to just fix it. So this is kind of where you get the difference between being a leader and being a boss. A boss is just going to tell you, you're doing this wrong, fix it, and that's it, and let you deal with it. And if you don't fix it, then I'm sure the corrective action will get even stronger, suspension or extermination, getting fired, whichever, however, depending on how the company works, it depends on what kind of corrective action they'll take. But being a leader, you'll see they will talk to the employees, they'll work with them, show them what is expected of them in order for them to actually perform to the standards that are set. In this study by Mulder and Ellinger, they found that feedback is increasingly being viewed as an important tool to foster employee learning and development that can enhance performance of individuals. So, because feedback is being seen as so important nowadays, not only for the organization as a whole so that they can accomplish what they need to, it's also important because the organization can then help develop employees so that they become more efficient themselves and the organization doesn't have to worry so much about them. They can start trusting them a little bit more because they know that the feedback will come back to them so that they have a measuring stick to see how the employees are doing. Speaking with the feedback control model, what I really liked from the reading was the system of the balanced scorecard. It incorporates the feedback very well. The balanced scorecard, it's made up of 4 different perspectives: the financial perspective, the customer perspective, and the process perspective, and the learning and growth perspective. Usually, the financial perspective is at the top of your chart, and it goes down from there and about how it's listed there. But it's not necessarily that way. It is an interchangeable type of chart. It just depends on what is most important to that organization that is using the balanced scorecard. But for the purposes of this presentation, we're just going to stick that with the financial perspective being the most important. So with the financial perspective, you are trying to see, you're measuring how the organization is achieving the financial success. So whatever action whatever your goals are, is what the profit is, or how are we making the shareholders or stakeholders more money. With the customer's perspective, you are measuring how the customers feel about the organization. Do they feel that what you're providing them, whether it be a service or a product, is worth their money? Is it valuable to them? Then you can measure how well you are retaining customers, or if you're bringing back repeat customers. Then so you receive the feedback from customers that way. The process perspective is what methods, what processes basically are being used to accomplish those financial goals and the customer goals, basically. So is what you're doing, is your plan to finish your goal, both getting you the financial success, the profits that you're looking for, and achieving repeat customers and keeping the customers happy with the organization. Then the learning and growth perspective shows if whether that process itself is improving things within the organization. There you're measuring whether the employees, if you're developing them in a manner that will continue to show return of the investment towards the organization. So is making the employees better actually going to continue helping the customer or the organization out in the long run? A little bit more on that financial perspective. It focuses on the financial results of the actions taken by the organization, and it's measured just by the financial analysis type. So profitability ratios, return on investment, activity ratios, all of these show financial progress or regress for the organization. Always looking for the progress, obviously, but that's how you receive the feedback. You get it from these types of analysis. So speaking of the financial control, in the study from Arafati and MD Youssef, they found that financial ratio analysis focus on the financial results that reflect the owner's perspective, whereas the balanced scorecard focuses on financial and non-financial results that reflect not only the owner's perspective, but also the customers, the internal process, and the learning and growth perspective. So, as it can be seen through this statement, that that the balanced scorecard does in fact use financial ratios, financial controls through the use of financial ratios, but it is a little bit more encompassing. It gives you a greater feedback because it not only just encompasses what is internal to the organization, but also the external. But the point being is that balanced scorecard does in fact use financial controls in its process. Budget controls in regards to the balanced scorecard, like we've learned through the reading, is budget control organizations make changes to the process along the way so that they continue to stay within their budget. Although that is a good internal method to control things, the balanced scorecard, they don't explicitly mention anything about budget. Budget, though, being that it is a financial goal, you can place that in the financial perspective. So you can place a goal in your financial perspective being that you are trying to stay 10% below your budget, or if not that, something like you just don't want to bust your budget for this quarter or this year, and you can measure that by those financial controls that you have. Callahan, Savage, and Mintz, they mentioned how the balanced scorecard is a more comprehensive method to evaluating the internal control such as budgets, because it shows how things affect the stakeholders both inside and outside the organization. So again, balanced scorecard, it just a better feedback type of system, because it gives you not only how it affects the internal parts of the organization, but also the external. And then speak to the fact that balanced scorecard and feedback, how it works together. Balanced scorecard, it just provides continual feedback, and Inamdar, Kaplan, and Reynolds spoke to this, that it's not just a feedback every now and then, it's a continual feedback process. It's constantly measuring everything that the organization does to see how it actually is being implemented and how it is affecting the organization. The process perspective, basically with the feedback, is that managers, once they receive the feedback for how things are going, then they can immediately implement things to basically implement new processes so that they can get that feedback to their subordinates and get them to either change things and get things moving in the right way, or continue doing things as they were if it is being successful. And that is my presentation on the balanced scorecard.